And now for something completely different.
Welcome to the Kachasu Philosophers, a show on which we philosophize and drink Kachasu. Today I actually have Kachasu and cake. You know, the best of both worlds. We're having a carbohydrate extravaganza up in this place. Of course, I'm joined by my awesome, amazing counterpart in philosophy, Mr. Moto, a man who needs no introduction but somehow enjoys all of them. How are you doing, sir?
I am well, sir.
There you go.
I am well, sir. I am alive. It's Saturday morning.
How was your week?
It's been lazy. Yes.
Oh, you were on leave?
Yeah, I was on leave.
What does leave look like for you?
Well, normally leave for me is constitutes of different kinds of work. You know, I take leave to do some different kind of work. Yes.
I was about to ask, have you switched on that PlayStation?
Yes, I have.
You switched it on just to see the interface?
No,
have you played it?
I've been playing Ghost Recon.
Oh, nice. There has to be some violence.
Yeah.
Appeals to the copper-belt man in you.
What can we do? What can we do except
Be violent.
kill some things violently?
That's amazing. Today I wanted to talk about, or is that the entirety of your week before I go away?
As we are simple people.
Before I take it away into the philosophy. I have had an interesting week. I've had a week full of distractions. Full of distractions, and I've been trying to work around them because I'm an easily distracted person.
But ADHD.
I have a form of attention disorder. I must have, because it's really confusing to me how I get confused in tasks. You know what I mean? And how small things can shift me off my center.
But you know how many people suffer from ADHD?
I think a lot of Africans.
Yes, a lot of us suffer from ADHD because I also equally suffer from ADHD. Almost every other person that I've run into. How'd you get around that? I put notes down. Yes, I put notes down, and then whatever they are, I prioritize them. What is the most important? For example, in a day, maybe let's say you could have 10 things that you would like to do. But out of the 10 things that need to be done, there are possibly 3 most important things that must be done. And come rain, come sunshine, these must be done. So as an ADHD person, you want to touch all of the 10 things, including the 3 that are most important. Therefore, not be able to finish because you're thinking, I've got so much work, I need to touch here, I need to touch here. So what you do is, out of the 10 things, you recognize 3 most important things. And those are the ones that you must do. Such that if you were to end the day and you said, I had 10 things today and I only managed to do 3. What are those 3? You should be comfortable with those 3 because those are the most important things that you needed to do, and you did them.
I see.
So I kind of organize myself in the form of documents and books and whatnot. Put things down.
Yeah, read person. Yeah, read person. Like you want to see the data.
Yeah, I want to see the data. What is it saying there?
Yeah.
And then go by it. I mean, when you have ADHD, you are overly analytical at the very same thing. Nothing is simple, nothing is straightforward. And that's the reason why we end up with so many tasks, because we are constantly thinking nothing is easy, nothing is simple, nothing is straightforward. And for me, what worsened it was when I decided to do IT. Because IT is one of those things where things always kind of work like this. And then today it's just not. You are installing, let's say a simple task back in the day, you are installing an operating system on a computer. And the procedure is quite straightforward. And then today it's just not
refusing.
It's just refusing. You know, like, why is it not just being straightforward?
Why isn't this machine doing what it's supposed to do?
What is this? What is this extra complication that we are experiencing here? This is not what we know.
Yeah.
You know, this is extra complication. So you kind of get fed with the outlook of many issues in that way. And so you see complexity oftentimes. And when you see complexity, you then overanalyze and then break things down into too many things to do. So that's a lie. The truth is, there are only 3 things.
That you have turned into a lot of things.
Yes. So out of those 10 things that you imagine in your head, just do 3. Because otherwise a whole day can pass without you doing anything. You've touched everything, but you've not accomplished anything. Talk all day but say nothing. So you have been busy all day, but when tomorrow comes, you try and count what you did yesterday, you find that it is nothing, because you touched everything and did not finish anything. That's the bad part about ADHD. So you kind of tackle it in that way, because uri wa mano ni shikaid ugot ADHD ni uri wa mano
You've got a
yes,
brain that's moving quickly.
Yes, it moves quickly. So you have to kind of find a way for it to operate itself. Yes.
I wonder if there's a way to institute that information in schools. I mean, I guess we're sort of, as African societies, we're waking up to or warming up to special needs schools, you know, especially in these, what do you call them, international schools of ours. I had a friend who was teaching in one of these schools, and it's like this extra curriculum that is provided for children who may present like with a difficulty in picking up tasks or understanding what should be quote unquote simple concepts, you know. I'm wondering if there's something that we can do also ourselves on on an institutional level that looks out for it, because I feel like a lot of the country's thinkers are lost out on, right? Because the pushback that they receive, the reaction that they receive for having a difficult, because this is coming to you as an adult, right? You have figured this out after years of looking back and self-analysis and being able to say, oh, this is how I get around my tasks, you know. But I'm thinking about
without medicine.
Without medicine,
yes.
You know.
I totally understand what you're saying, because in other places, psychiatry, sociology, psychology are very important and well respected areas, because these are the institutions that try to help the functionality of the society. Watching a show like Billions on Showmax.
I still haven't seen Billions.
Brilliant show. It's nice. It's good.
Everybody says that.
Yeah, no, it's smart. It's intense. Yeah, it's fun the right way. But for me, what I found very interesting from this show is that there is this guy who runs this company of highly intelligent, highly effective, highly functional team of people. And these guys are always making deals, and they're always making thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and very highly competitive area as well. But But this company has got one of the very most senior and most important staff, who is a doctor.
What kind of a doctor? Psychological?
Yes, psychological doctor. So she then normally has sessions with these performers.
I see.
So they go and they sit and they talk to her about their problems, and she helps them resolve them. But what they are bringing to the table is their functionality as a human being. And that is what she is working to correct, because that functionality as a human being is what destabilizes everything else. So I'm not any more highly functional because I just don't know what's going on anymore. You know, my life is now a little bit too complicated. Home is like this, blah, 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 blah. You know, so many things happening in my life.
Yeah.
And this is the person that brings the brains back together in order to maintain the sanity of these highly functional people. And that is what these areas do for any country. Psychology, sociology, psychiatry. That you must understand that as a nation that we are not all normal, including those that perceive themselves as normal. Yeah? Did we not come across a fight recently? What was normal about that? About normal people? So we must understand that then even the normal people that classify themselves as normal are not necessarily normal. They need some sort of put together kind of help. And the West discovered medicine as well. That it is not just through words, sitting down and talking to someone to orient them, education basically. That because your brain is also a chemical composition.
Yeah.
All right. So depending on the content of the chemicals, your thinking can be affected.
Yeah.
Your perceptions can be, influenced. So they also made medicine on the other side that would be able to stimulate you away from what would be termed as madness. We don't have that. Here we only have two extremes. Either or one penna and you walk on the streets.
I mean, even our scheduling of medication, right? Where you are saying that they have realized that there's some medicines for medical use and for mental situations. Here we haven't even begun to break that barrier, right? Because either our medication is looked at as illegal and unscheduled. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you something that I see as what is wrong with African medicine. As a people, we survived the longest, right? First human. What we truly know and understand is basically the process of extracting medicine from the soil, medicine from our environment, which everybody else did, but they moved on. They moved on simply because they started writing and recording and sharing information. And then it became some sort of a study where ideas are shared and then things are made. Whereas for us, we continued to practice it individually. Continue practicing witchcraft. No. That's just some,
information.
Good, but our inability to kind of record and develop systems of sharing information about this practice of extracting medicine from the soil, we are therefore unable to continue with it consistently when there's competition right next door that is moving quite aggressively. Quite aggressively.
I had an interesting experience in South Africa. I was at a coffee shop. I was having a coffee with a friend, and the waiter announced to us, she's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm also a sangoma," and I was a bit taken aback. I was like, "This is the most modern sangoma I've ever come across." Right? If I'm also being honest, this is the prettiest sangoma. Actually, if we take it further, this is sangoma with the biggest bums. Do you see where I'm going with this? And this is the most modern version of a sangoma. And she was like, "Oh, don't think of it like that. There's also other like traditional medicines that we do. So I've got like my page and blah 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 blah." I was like, I like that their society, the South African society, has opened up to give them actual incentive also to just like promote yourselves. And if your stuff works, we will know. You know what I mean?
That is why it wasn't a far-fetched idea for the University of Zambia to create a curriculum for witchcraft.
And that wasn't a curriculum for witchcraft. I hate it when they say it like that.
But you see,
we're so triggered.
I like it that way simply because it should make us realize how we have demonized it. Because what it is actually medicine. It can be medicine that can, make you lose your mind, or it can be medicine that can, help you gain your mind. Or it can be medicine that would, heal a minor ailment. But this is stuff that you then need to start recording. So that we have definite methods for these things. We only trusted Western medicine because guys. How to take it. Not in the morning you look in the west and then you drink water. And then in the evening you look to the east and then you drink water. Those are the instructions. Ulemba somewhere.
So you're saying the instruction was similar.
Yes. Just the lack of instructions then made it seem as though this is a mystery. Yes. This is a mystery. But there's nothing mysterious about African medicine, African traditional medicine. It's just that it appears as though there is no study around it. And the moment you place study around it, then that is when it becomes a bit more valid. Because all we need to know is the methodology. Where you are doing, African medicine. And you see, the only difference is that...
going to improve.
Yes, the only difference is that for them, what they did was they thought about their numbers. How many trees are we going to cut down just to get the Shimbachilia? To be able to treat, 30 million people. So what so they had to figure out a way to then begin to develop this by understanding chemicals. What chemical is in this? So now they are doing tests. What is in this? It's not even a chemical. Can we find something that is different and we can label it? That label is a symbol. When you see it, you know what it is. That's all we have needed to also do for African medicine. It's not that there is oxygen. You know what I mean? It's not that there is oxygen. It's just that is what they call it. That's the symbol that they use to identify this unique element that they've picked out of testing in nature. So you call it oxygen. Yes, oxygen. You always call it oxygen. Can I say oxygen?
If it was your grandfather, you'd be calling it Chibariba.
Can you pepper Chibariba?
You have been studying too many use of Chibariba and makes water.
Exactly.
I would love
Exactly.
to, just a side note, I would love to attend a Bemba chemistry class. You know what I mean? I would love to attend a chemistry class taught in Bemba. The Fanta was great.
Aye, man. Aye. Like they put some oxygen in this drink. And So, I would like us to really understand how we continue as Africans to demonize ourselves and the things that we do and invalidate these things because we don't hold any form of study. It is as simple as polygamy. Polygamy. It's easy to not believe in what you believe in if you don't know. Someone can come with something that sounds like a better idea and easily sell it to you simply because you've not established value on your side. You've not taken the time to explore your area, respect it, and know that it is valid. There's a reason why you are there. There's existence everywhere. Even Will Smith said, you don't have to recommend the Panya. So you belong to one zone with the kind of one zone. Like the way I kept the bones. So now if you twice color, I want to more Africa. Ne fin to touchta, ne fin to touchta. Study that. Put some labels on it.
Perfect it.
Yeah, perfect it. You know, it's not about picking other people's ideals, other people's ideas. Sometimes ideas are just everywhere, even where you are sitting. So go in there and pick some and be confident in that net in which you are going to pick any idea from. So this idea of a sangoma, I love it, absolutely. That here is a pretty woman, African woman, that approaches you and say, yo, by the way, I am a sangoma.
Yeah. I would rather if that girl with the big bums who was a sangoma said she can pray for a stock that I've invested in a company to go up, I would believe it more than somebody who doesn't have a cell phone. You know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? It will just appeal more to me because I'm a modern man. I don't need to be entering a hat to believe your concepts. You know, I met this person working at a coffee shop and their side hustle is being a sangoma. I was very impressed. You know,
it's you know, Bukaitemwe na Wawadi were very dangerous, and this is where somehow we shot ourselves in the foot when it came to African medicine. It's because the people that would be practicing and would have knowledge about the natural environment and how you can extract treatment from it would give it to you in a form of mystery.
Yeah, secrecy.
Secrecy, you know, they can't reveal their trade. So nobody could study this trade except them. So we saw it as a mysterious thing because others would, you know, do strange things with it. You know, atio badi mulo na kwa teachile fimba papa mkoshapa.
Oh man,
Is this a doctor gone bad?
A sangoma gone strong.
Exactly. Like, oh, so you think? If you are in Mumpanga Wakamba, no, we are sanga chachine chimba chiari chishwa wakamba chitemata na trita chika munjata shanchan yukachi wakamba panga potu menji na ulala tuma hatse moto waleka walishwa so takabo kukomechiwi muhati mwala ko mashani. So kuisa vet 02 kai nshuturu no betwateka 02 ni back in the day, especially that you would not be staying up watching TV. You know, you know, you
have to be up early.
So I said at 24 ni chuturo twadeka. That's why you witching hour idabakamba 24 to 02. Because kuisa mwana mumobe muntu wati. Kwa na isura ichibi kaina ulala bakabwala takwa bakayikwesa mukwibenchi kwafye ndoshi so kwingira
twa ngombe yo
na kutonesha na tuntono kana apeni pamkoshu twa banokuba baba nimpanga kai ni paizo unaweza kumukolo chelo kwa is dance film tamuishi bakamba waya bamona balabira no I don't know what to do with this one. This one is quite new to me. You need to give me maybe 3 years, let me study it. You know. Yeah, the business of the sangoma that when a doctor goes bad because you've run into bad business during the day, definitely is gonna come for you. You know, the same good doctor that you got, you know, in your village. So we never had witches the way that we perceived witchcraft. You know, people flying on brooms and doing mysterious things such as magic and, you know, killing people, making people sick, making people go mad, you know, and then there are these people called witch doctors, you know, that come and rescue you from, you know, witchcraft. You know, there's just one and the same thing, but we've just demonized it. You know, it is medicine. It can be practiced. Mudino muti wa psychology, wa psychiatry, shanchai, whatever they call it, you know.
Yeah.
It is all there, but because we have not labeled it, we are unable to identify it collectively. You know, so we can call it many things and we can think of it many things. They normalized it. They put it down. You can go and read it in a book and learn something about it because there's a method that is being put down. Oh, umutima ba ufunya so. Iwe ni magic show. No, tell us how you're going to do the kutum if it is possible. Magic. You know, put it down so that we can all practice it. You know?
There's been a rise in kujum. That's the next news article.
Yes.
There's been a very astronomical rise in cases of kujum.
Because you see, this is how then societies become or grow technically as well. Because this now becomes a threat in society. Before you know it, some guy there builds some sort of a jacket, you know, or a hat protector, you know, that deflects the kujum. You know, document. Before you know it, you are a civilization that is moving in a very different direction.
Yeah.
Because anything is possible anywhere. It's not only possible there. It is also possible here. Yes.
This is why I have an opposition to people bewitching each other and people who believe that people bewitch each other. I'm like, that should be applicable in other places in society. You know what I mean? In other realms of existence. You know. But yeah, I do understand we should study the kujum.
I mean, absolutely.
Officer Moto first class kujum. You are a professor at kujum. If there's been a case of kujum, you show up at the scene there like, yeah, this looks like black level kujum. This is definitely kujum. This is definitely. In fact, don't come close. This is clear kujum, and they have left the type of kujum that if you come close, even you'll be kujum. You know?
It is left lingering around.
Yeah, no.
You know?
This is actually kujum explained.
You know, so that's really the truth then, that everything that is done and possible is possible, can be explained. There is no reason for you to shroud anything in mystery. Because mystery is nothing. It's nothing.
Yeah. Mystery is just showmanship.
Yes, it's nothing.
You're just being a performer.
Yes,
you know
just like the way magic is.
Yeah.
You know, magic is such a strange thing because here is a guy that will do crazy things that he will not tell you how he's done them. But he's not done them out of mystery. It's just science. And magic is science.
It's just quick.
Yes, just you're not you're paying attention to this side. Psychology.
Misdirection.
You know? Yeah. So anything can be explained. There is no mystery. You know, and if we therefore think that there is mystery in certain areas, then we will not be able to explore them. And that's why we have been unable to explore African traditional medicine. Because we have looked at it as something that is strange. Can you imagine putting together a bunch of roots and tying some shanshan? You go there, wow, where you Katato, Iromba. Iromba. Ni chichani chokanji. We are now even beginning to kind of further cover them in these mysteries where we are going into a realm of supernatural things, and we can't explore that. You're not helping the situation. Just say what it is in reality.
I mean, one of my favorite moments in Zambian history is when is it Katere Kalumba came out and explained everything that had happened back then. It's like, no, there was no witchcraft that was happening. You know, I mean, there was none of that ever happened. What they found was just I had a cross in my thing, I had a coin, and I had a picture. That's all. There was nothing happening. You guys didn't have to get naked for none of that. It was just like at that time it seemed like it was helping my case to feed into rumors. Because you guys seemed convinced.
Doesn't he like sing or something? Hasn't he made like a couple of songs?
I'm not sure
He's
that.
made like a fun, I've heard one fun song.
Where he makes fun of that situation.
No. It's just music about feeling good.
I see. You know, I miss the type of African politician who could play a musical instrument.
Yes.
Because I don't think I would mind terrible leadership if you can hold a tune. You know what I mean? If you can do Macarena.
You know, the guy can sing. Give him a chance. I mean, the guy can sing.
Thomas Sankara would go from saying, guys, it's going to be a very terrible year. We're going to have to tighten our belts. We're going to have to work, and then break out his guitar and sing Aluta Continua.
You know who carried on for a while like that?
Our guy
from Gabon.
Whom?
From Gabon.
Oh, he also used to sing?
Yeah.
Oh.
I've seen him on stage rapping, as a matter of fact. Just go on YouTube and you will find him.
He's a rapping person.
Yeah, some local shanshani called Wawa, and he was pretty cool. Like, there. You see?
Yeah, vote in the musician president.
He can rap.
Yeah.
Give him a chance.
Vote in the I mean,
he's one of us.
Julius Malema DJ's party. So here we are. This is the new criteria for choosing the next president. Can you hold a tune? Do you have rhythm in your voice?
I mean, look at our own guy. He's got that dance. He's got that dance, and he can also sing. He can also sing. He's an Adventist.
Yes.
He can also sing.
You're saying a lot of things that shouldn't be said together. You know what I mean?
But he's got that dance. Me, every time I see that dance, like,
the words he can also sing is an Adventist. It should not even be in the same town. You know what I mean?
But you know, Adventists are good singers, eh?
That's another one I don't like.
You didn't know?
No, I don't believe you, sir.
Oh, you've never been to an SDA church?
No.
You know those guys, they have picture from small groups of men and women, not choir. They do have a church.
I know what you're talking about.
So they are really
I know. I've worked before with a quartet, not from an SDA thing, but a better one than them.
No, those guys can sing.
I believe you. I don't believe they can sing really well.
You guys have made albums. I even used to know a couple of friends of mine from Chingola. They even started producing music professionally.
This is why. This is the only reason you're giving them props, because these are your homies, bro.
Wait, we used to do graphics.
I know.
Back in
I had a friend who used to do the same. And he was making some
album cover, and it wasn't just the album cover. Yonse content green. Me, my friend Masauso. And my other friend, Jay. Twice to album you
guys are doing business.
Yes.
Oh Lord.
I have my own catalog.
Yeah, the booklet.
Yes, the booklet.
Yeah. Produced, printed.
We just did the album cover. So there were musicians this side.
I don't doubt there were musicians in Chingola. I mean, that's where some of the country's best musicians have come from.
Glorious Band.
Glorious Band was from there?
Hey, Muntuan Glorious Band, those guys were wild. You know, people that could just solidly sing. In Dola,
we were the people with the facilities. Mission Press.
Because
like there was this mystery of like it seemed like it was a
science being practiced.
A Christian record label, and I was a rapper. So now they Tina.
The producer can be a priest.
How do I enter the studio with my for all enemies?
He's sitting there with the cross that car white. Young man.
Funny story. I ended up the first place I recorded at was a Christian guy.
Yeah.
You know. And he was like, yeah, but some of those songs we might not. I was like, Bizarro, what are you talking about? You know, because the kind of hip hop I'm trying to do. I've been fighting Jesus from day one, bro. From the jump of my life.
But some of those songs, we might need to cut back.
Yeah. And he used to do this thing where he would only edit the music he liked. So so you make an album. You make an album, you know, and there's like 2 songs where you're being real with yourself. That's never making it to the album. It's like, yeah, that one just didn't have the thing, you know. That's my song for my father.
You know, I mean, it's let me just say this. It's a shame. Jesus,
and they'll argue with you and say more African though.
But why is there an argument? There shouldn't be an argument. Why come because now I'm biased and that's Chinese. Why don't we know Kofilika Kofi? Fisen den kanchi. If you want to more than pay boat. Fisen deni. We must have that sense of pride sometimes that it is okay to believe in the things that we believe in as Africans. We can work with them. Let them work with what they've got that side as well.
You've got these characters in your history that you can, from which you also derive the exact same story and beliefs that you get from all these other stories.
David Livingstone.
Yes.
But we don't need him. There are some other guys. Simon Kapwepwe. There are some other guys.
Tell me about Valentine Musakanya.
Exactly. You know, there's some other guys. There's history that is worth studying locally. But we were not just talking about history in this particular sense. We were talking about medicine. So you see that it is just one example. There are many other things. That we have neglected and taken eager step to study what is outside instead of studying what is inside. That's why they can come and put a value on our minerals. Because we are studying the market outside there, how to sell minerals. No, but you are the ones digging the minerals. You're the ones with the minerals. So what's the value?
It's what happens as an entrepreneur when I ask people who are in corporate employment. They come to me with an idea, you know. And I'm like, why don't you do that for yourself? You know, I mean, you believe in this idea. They're like, yeah, the way to fund it. You I'm like, okay, that's a fair take. You're kind of doing that at another person's job. You know what I mean? You're kind of doing the same thing you're trying to do with me for free, for pay somewhere else. So why don't you view this as that? And I wanted to say that to say this is kind of how we now view our own beliefs. You know what I mean? Because we view everything else as something that is valuable. It brings something to us. So if you know British law, you can get a job as a lawyer. You know what I mean? If you know medicine, as taught in the universities, you can get a job. There's no outlet for our own beliefs. You know what I mean? Where do you go when you are well versed in the history of African music, for instance?
So I will say that we have only managed to practice witchcraft. You know, we could be practicing a lot about ourselves in order to help grow our society and trade better on these so-called international markets. We unfairly trade, and yet we are the richest. You know, right from the start, virgin land, prime for agriculture, still prime for agriculture up to today.
I love how you're still calling Africa virgin land.
You know,
if that girl walked up to you and said, I'm a virgin, if Africa walked up to you and said, I'm a virgin, you look at her like, she's in shambles. No. She looks like she's been around the block.
You know, the virginity is there for us.
Unexplored, I know what you mean.
Yes, the virginity is there. I know. The virginity is there for us as Africans.
Yeah.
You know, because Africa has been explored by, you know, Western forces, Far Eastern forces. We ourselves have not taken the time to explore it. You know, we were caught on earlier on and destabilized. Before we could start thinking about our land, you know, we were losing our land. You know, so it's very interesting even how it shows in how powerful a Zambian feels when they say they are building. You hear this idea around,
do you
have land? Have you built a house? You know, this is a question that people will ask you after a while, you know, and it's because we think that is the pure ownership that we have to anything. But it's not. You see, that's just one component, land. There are many things that you need to take ownership of.
If the population keeps growing, we all can't just have land.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So someone's going to have to live on someone else's land.
Exactly. Somebody has to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Somebody posted this the other day to say, you are not in traffic. You are not stuck in traffic. You are the traffic. You know, you are not stuck in traffic. You are the traffic. It's interesting that you sit there and say, you know, good traffic, you know, I'm stuck.
You think everybody else doesn't have anywhere to go?
Yes.
You think people are
not
busy?
So you are the traffic, yes. Drag traffickers.
Wondering what you're all doing. Trafficking.
What was we talking about?
You are saying you're not in traffic, you are the traffic.
Yeah, but before that,
I do not recall even. Giving value to our own beliefs.
Yes, giving value. So, you know, I said something like, you know, land, which we perceive as the greatest asset. You know, you can live in your own house and be unhappy. You know, it's not the greatest you can actually achieve. There are many other things. Just as you acknowledge that, someone will need to live in someone's house, you know.
At some point.
At some point, you know, for the economy
for this thing to work.
Yeah. You know, you can't go. No, I wanted to command lives.
It's not like you niggas will stop backing. Just for me to be comfortable. No. You have your babies and your babies and your babies, and they'll have my babies will have to live with your babies.
Exactly.
And me in this world.
So yeah, it's then recognizing exactly in what we are, you know, as Africans. You know, what have we been about? You know, taking serious, undisturbed study of ourselves, as others have studied themselves very well. They know themselves. If you are, you know, us, it is out of speculation. You know, we have not written much about ourselves. Others have written about us, and we read what others have written about us.
It's so amazing when you read an African writing about an African. You know,
absolutely.
They write from a perspective of context. Like you reading it as an African, there's certain things you understand in there that they are leaving for you, specifically as an African, catering to you in the manner that they are writing, you know.
Tom Cruise is a hero. Think about it.
Why first?
They create figures, representatives of themselves, and paint them as heroes and show you what they are about. You cannot mistake Tom Cruise for a black man. We know what Tom Cruise is. He's not an Indian. He's a white man. He is. And they are so proud of themselves that they can create those representations of themselves. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You must all just be that confident.
Yeah.
That's it.
Create your own heroes.
Create your own heroes as well. You don't go and say, Mama guys, but I'm
yeah. Look,
in somebody else's story, you'll be a villain.
Look at our statues. Look at the things we glorify. It's a guy breaking chains. We're still in this state of shock at our own freedom. You know what I mean? We're still shocked that we're able to make our own decisions. So we're making very poor decisions and in constant looking back, reminiscing about when we were in captivity.
And you see, that's a good point, because we need new heroes.
Yeah.
You know, enough with the bloodshed type of heroes.
Yeah.
You know, enough with that, enough with the breaking chains.
Yeah.
You know, there are new barriers that need to be broken now. We need to be looking for new heroes that are showing us new ways of thinking and doing things as Africans, and put them there.
Where's the African Einstein? You know what I mean? That's not the man you ever saw with a gun in his hand. You know what I mean? Where's the African Einstein? Where's the African Tesla? You know what I mean? Who is influencing your society? You know?
But we immediately want to paint ourselves as villains. That's why no African leader who is seen to be a dictator should be hated by fellow Africans, but be someone who should be helped by other Africans. Meaning Africans need to be able to come to rise to the aid of each other and find solutions collectively. If there is an imbalance there in that country, it shouldn't take Western powers to have influence over the outcome of that. It should take African neighbors to have a solid influence in the outcome of that.
I don't know if I said it on any other episode, but one thing I was really glad to have seen is how the guy who had taken over Niger refused to meet anybody. He's like, what do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, you are not. This is not what's happening here.
The first thing that I would like to see in such situations in Africa is the first aid is coming from Zambia.
Africa.
Yes. The first aid is coming from Namibia.
Yeah.
The first aid is coming from Malawi. The first aid is coming from Chad. Not the first aid is coming from the UN. Well, the first aid is coming from, the United States of America. The Americans have given China. The British this side are actually saying that they're intending to give more. Like, that should never be the first aid. First aid must be...
First responders must be us on the ground.
Hey, what's happening here? From all the way from we don't know where. We don't... The first meetings are being held we don't know where. Can you imagine?
But it's to decide.
France. What's happening? What are you guys doing? They're going into rooms to discuss. Like, why are you going into rooms to discuss? We should be the first ones to go into rooms to discuss. Nigeria kama ingira bara asendo mnango pale Antonio Kanegana not very far nenka nana shipsana kuma ama guys very steam yo those videos there no because
they know
but it's so mshishika ngabari landa so those people are very different from you, so they're going to discuss about you.
But not only that, man. The most important part of this is what is the motive, right? What is your neighbor's motive in trying to calm your fight? Your neighbor's motive in trying to calm your fight is to keep calm his environment, right? What is the motive of someone who comes from across town to come and calm your fight? You know what I mean? That means that you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
But Mozambique, you are 20 million at any given night. 18 million nabala. 3 million eva share everybody bomba running the 3 million being saga. You imagine 3 million people away. But 18 of you, 18 million asleep. That's too many people. That's a country shut down. That's a country shut down. That's why we feared so much the night. Because we know that if someone came in the night, everyone is sleeping. Wasn't it is never saying that? Mulandu watulo kushako ba munaba bukabari tamba territory if twale karate back in the day in the bush te bonza bakulala yo ngamulela la pansi ufa vile pa wamole tamba tawa nkala guys ya so kubuke era iwe chomba mchumchu nkala ya so kubuka chombo tulo sala bagamba no mfama guys bapya mu kwa chombo kusabuka fefa ama guys tabachitire wisore lwati chombabuka ubra kuzimutia kila kweza bukunya chombabuka motora so you can't all be sleeping. It's not normal for 18 million people to be
asleep.
At sleep. Mwafula sana. Let they have an economy that is also functional at night. Yesterday I went to meet with a very good friend of mine. Was doing what they call an activation for a brand, just somewhere in Woodlands, the mall there. And she was telling me about the owner of the place. So, okay. She pointed out as the owner of the place. He's the one that also owns, another place this side. Okay, great. Now, opposite this very sort of night club or pub or whatever it is a clothing store.
Okay.
And this clothing store is open. So I was like, the owner of that clothing store is very smart, because he thought about my guys are babali now we can already tamba kasote we can tamba the advertisement wala for we may do stable something you know, and they thought to themselves it's a great business opportunity, so therefore we open as long as this place is open, because every other boutique around closed.
That's deep.
Until the owner of this place walked confidently into the clothing store. We just got to very agile businessman. He saw the opportunity himself, say, I think I should open a Chanchan. I'll tell my young cousin this side who's into fashion Chanchan to come and already have an established place here. So Atambanankari opportunity. It's brilliant.
That's how I made it. I was about to say another body part.
Because kufile kwa bano mnobe uri utasendele amasuku yaka ule tamba security iwe mona boy bari fo kugura amasuku
buka ko boy
kwa ule lipirisha because naba kapokole ko beminda kama speed traps. That's how they have their speed traps. There are about three parties there. Okay, there's one that has got the camera pointed on the road, looking for anyone that is going above the speed limit. And then there is one guy who he will tap and say, oh, that car, go and stop. So that guy will go on the road to stop the vehicle and then point. And then they will go to the third point where now you go and get your charge. Three, very so they must be able to coordinate, because otherwise tapari fiarast ule star point foot ni wewe ufudo kusam poka tono ka pela charge by the time ule is so you coordinate. So use numbers and have division of labor. Division of labor for me, when I learned it in secondary school, was it in grade 8?
Yes.
Division of labor, was it in grade 7?
It was somewhere around there.
Division of labor, that thing kind of wowed me. I'm telling you, division of labor, it kind of wowed me, because I thought in my head that it was the solution to progress,
to everything.
Yes, that you must have different expertise to kind of come up with something solid and big, and people have to do different forms of labor to build
for this thing to work.
For this thing to work, you can't all be. Once to my managers, won't say you are just managers. Oh, I mean, me also I'm a manager.
Who's going to make
I thought it was you that is going to sort out this technical problem. No, me, I'm in charge of technicalities and I supervise it. So who's going to do this goddamn thing now? You're all just a bunch of managers. So it can't really work. Division of labor, therefore, is identifying the kind of labor that is at hand, and then finding the skills to be able to do different things to achieve this labor.
To make some work.
Yes. So we don't utilize our numbers. That's why sometimes we even fight amongst ourselves when we start businesses. Because we are forgetting that these numbers are very important, but we must use each other specifically in specific positions. We can't all be doing the same thing. So that's you are even able to measure yourself. Because not to start divide
doesn't sound like business.
It doesn't sound like business.
Like an army.
I'm also expecting something to be coming from you feed what I am doing. To feed what you are doing. And then just something grows.
If you're already starting in the start.
So what are we doing here? I thought you were not a professional sleeper. No, I've been practicing sleeping for a very long time. I'm a champion in my time. That's why I'm here.
And on that note, I would like to say, stop being professional sleepers. Wake up stop being professional sleepers. This has transitioned. It started out with something else and has ended up in sleep. I like how recently, I think it speaks to where our minds usually go. I like how we go back, somehow, somewhere, we go back to how this ties into the African condition. You know what I mean? Because it's our present reality. It's what we have to exercise our philosophies in. It's the environment in which we exercise our philosophy. We
are truly the Kachasu philosophers. We are not here to talk about superficial things. We are Africans. Hey, we're Africans. I remember one very brilliant question that I was asked by Nala in African theories.
What makes you African?
Yeah, what makes you African, but more so implying that, most people don't kind of see you to be as an African. Yeah, but what is an African? What is an African? The fact that I'm living in Africa makes me African. The fact that I am this color.
The story that invented your name.
Yes, I am African. You cannot remove me. It is impossible to remove me, but it is the best thing to accept me as a component to Africa. As you are a very different component to Africa, but I have to accept you as an African, not as a person trying to be something else outside of Africa. Whatever you're trying to be, you're still being it in Africa. As an African.
In the words of a great African philosopher, I am he ha.